All right. That is so bright. Hello? Mic check? Is Mike out there? Thanks, Mike. Thanks for the quick response.
Are you going to be running any audio?
No. Nope. No audio from my laptop.
Awesome. So, over here on this side, your slides will always be up regardless of what we put up on the screen. So if you move around at all and you're trying to figure out where you're at, that slide over there, that
Okay.
screen over there will always show your slides.
Just so you know, this is slides only over here. This has whatever's going from the director, which might be.
Okay. Come on, I can't see it. There we go. Holy cow. That is so bright. If you can still see me well, that would be fantastic. What's that?
Do you want the table or do you want us to take it down?
I'm okay either way. I don't need the table.
Okay. We'll bring down the table.
If that works for you, I don't want to, hold on, figure out what's going on. Like, why
Can you still see me okay? That's great. Thank you, John. I don't know if the microphone's still on.
I have it off.
Okay. Do you want to pull these things off the table or just take the table down as is?
I'm going to take the whole table down.
Do you want to just grab one side and I'll grab the other? Oh, I guess that works too. All right. Ooh, that was close. Just gonna leave my phones with you.
Any memes today?
No memes in my talk. That's Matt. He's in A.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. I was just asking after yesterday's discussion.
I did not learn my lesson.
No, that's fine. I'm not a big meme person. I mean, some are clever, but that's like 10%. So I'm here for those.
For the clever memes.
For the clever memes.
For the dank memes.
Yes.
All right, you good?
I think so.
Okay. Give me 5 seconds and we'll get you started.
Yeah, we're good. Can everybody hear me in the back? Can everybody hear me in the back? Give me a thumbs up or something. Great. All right. Welcome, everybody. I hope you're having a great time here at SAINTCON 2023. I know I am. It's been a fantastic conference. My best and favorite so far. I'm dealing with a little bit of a migraine today, so I'm a little bit out of it. Apologize for that. Those lights are super bright, but thanks for turning them down. Today, my talk is called Will You Help Me? And I have two things that I want to go over before we get into the talk. The first one is a little bit of caution. The topic of today's talk is going to be mental health. If that's an issue for you or a trigger of any kind, feel free to stand up and make your way out. That's totally okay. No judgment from me. I understand that that's the thing. Please do the best thing for you. I want to make sure you're taking care of yourself. And the second is this talk contains social engineering from me aimed at you. I believe in informed consent, so this is your opportunity to choose to opt out. I can't really do the opt-in thing other than you came to my talk. That's what happens. But if you choose to opt out, once again, no judgment. There's some great talks going on. We've got Matt giving a talk in Ballroom A and Mike giving the badge talk in Ballroom C. Those are both great options. But if you're here to talk about mental health and to be social engineered, you're in the right place. So welcome. Thank you for jumping in here. All right, so you say, Seth, you're going to social engineer me here in your talk? Yeah, right. Wow, that's quite an applause for just that statement. The answer to that is yes. If you think that won't happen, that's okay. I don't believe that I'm the world's best at this, but I am pretty good at this. I've been doing this for a long time. I've actually been giving social engineering talks here at SAINTCON for over a decade now. How many of you have been to some of those other ones? A couple of you. We're going to talk about some of the experiences for that. So what makes a social engineer? You got to be a little bit weird, and you got to be really interested in people and how people work. It's a learning process to learn more about how the human brain works and how the dynamics of not just the neural pathways, but the social interactions that sort of drive those things happen. But let's talk a little bit about things that are awkward, okay? I hear all the rage today from younger people saying, I'm awkward, or maybe even I'm socially awkward. How many of you have heard that? Okay, well, I'm going to be a little bit vulnerable here. I am definitely awkward. But let's talk for just a moment about what awkward means, because I think there are two different kinds of awkward. The first one is objectively awkward, and I don't think this applies very well to people. It's objects. You've probably recognized this image. It's a microwave, and there's something really awkward about this microwave. You might have one at home that's like this. Anyone notice the awkward thing?
The button at the bottom.
There's a button at the bottom to open the door. How many of you open doors with buttons? Only microwaves. I don't know who got in on the engineering crowd for microwaves and thought, you know what, I'm going to put a button there to do a thing that you have to do separately. Let's just add one more step. It'd be really cool. They're punking all of us every single day we use those things. I believe that this is an example of something that is objectively awkward. And that means that when you look at it, it just doesn't quite fit. It's awkward. All right, so what do we mean about things that are affectively awkward? That means emotionally awkward. There are a couple different kinds of things that create that, and I believe that emotionally awkward things or affectively awkward things come in two types. And the first type is the emotions that other people feel, right? When I do things like stand up in front of you and talk about microwaves, might feel a little awkward, right? You're thinking, oh, what is this talk going to say? I'm not sure. I'm really in the right place. Maybe I'm going to jump up and go to that badge talk right now. That is externally socially awkward kinds of things. But there's also the, internal social awkwardness, right? I feel awkward standing up here in front of you trying to explain some of these things on very little sleep, and this is the final day of the con. So it's kind of an interesting experience to go through that. And, you get those butterflies or whatever. You feel like, I don't know if people are going to like me. Maybe you feel some of that imposter sort of feeling. I get to feel all that right now, but as an added bonus, it gets extra awkward when I open the door and say, come on in to my little brain. I'm going to be playing in yours today as part of the social engineering, but I'm going to invite you into mine and see what it looks like inside my head. And I tell you what, that's really awkward. That's really awkward. So, any questions about the awkwardness? Do you guys understand that? Does that make sense? All right, so let's talk a little bit about some of the things that I have done as a social engineer. Some of you might know some of these stories, and some of you, it might be the first time you're hearing them, but we're going to talk about Thanksgiving dinner. A couple of years ago, I was giving a talk on social engineering here at SAINTCON, and we got to the question and answer period, and people were asking questions like they normally do, and some of them were insightful, maybe some of them less so, and then one person raised their hand and asked, so Seth, what do you do with all this social engineering stuff? Do you just go to like Thanksgiving dinner and sit around and like play these games with people at Thanksgiving dinner? And of course, I had to think about that for just a moment. And my answer was no, but that's a great idea. And I thought, well, SAINTCON is in October, at the end of October. Thanksgiving is just a few weeks away. We can make this happen. So I went to the Thanksgiving dinner, and I played that game. And then the following year, I gave a report on the interesting aspects of doing that with family gatherings and a little bit of the Thomas Kilmann conflict instrument, where you can see how people interact with some of the conflicts that you see in families, which you can see on display at Thanksgiving dinner at most families. It was a wonderful experience, but I feel like it's also fair to explain that I was social engineered by someone in the audience asking me a question while I was giving a talk on social engineering. It's a little bit meta there, but it happened, and I feel like that was okay. I thought that was a good thing. But it was a wonderful experience to understand that social engineering happens in a lot of different scenarios and in different circumstances. The next one I want to talk about is another experience that I had here giving a talk on social engineering at SAINTCON. How many of you remember the lemonade talk? Anybody here? Cannot see. Nobody was here for that one? Oh, man. Okay, so I had Matt, who's giving the talk in the other room. He decided that he wanted to bring to me a lemonade in the middle of my talk, and he wanted me to use it as part of my talk. And so I decided to make that a little bit of a social engineering experiment to see if we could get someone to hold my lemonade for the entire duration of the remainder of the talk. And we did it. I made some poor person hold that lemonade high up in the air after I took one sip just for the rest of the talk. And I feel like some of these things for social engineering perspective, they end up being a little bit like tricks more than anything that's great. And I wanted to change the way that I was doing social engineering. So I spent a lot of time doing some research. I've read a lot of scientific papers. I've read a lot of blogs from social engineers online. And there's some great scientific papers. Some of those experiments that military or government agencies did back when there were fewer rules about that kind of stuff and you could get away with a lot. We learn a lot of things from those kinds of experiments, but we don't really do those anymore. But understanding like how do those things work, and I depend on the research that other people have done. I'm happy to try some of my own things, but we have some brilliant people who've done some incredible research on the human brain and on social interactions, some of them for military concepts of how do you prevent the disclosure of secrets under duress, and some of them from a psychology and treatment perspective. All those things sort of mixed together create this range of research that's useful for understanding how the human mind works and how to leverage the human mind to achieve certain outcomes. So after I did a lot of this research, it became time to practice. And practicing social engineering can be something as simple as asking someone to hold your lemonade and not letting them put it down, or something as advanced as an ongoing long-term relationship that you're working out with someone. All those things are great ways that you can practice your social engineering. How many of you have tried this already today? You've done some social engineering today? Couple honest people? All right. The reality is you probably do it more often than you think. And it's a very common characteristic of human communication and interaction. We use our influence to sometimes get what we want, sometimes to help other people. And as we practice that, we get better at it. How many of you are parents in the room? You got to do some things to get your children to do what they need to do, what you would like them to do. You guys resort to maybe some social engineering tactics. You get some influence on your children. I have children, and I practice those things all the time, but it's only fair they give it right back to me, and they're probably better at it than I am. All right, so I also go through a number of special projects, things that I have been working on where I set up a specific goal or an objective that I want to achieve, or something that I want to learn from social engineering tactics, and I practice it over and over and over and over again. One of the things that I have done over the years as part of this special projects is, as I'm driving in the car from one place to the next, I will practice social engineering inside my own head to see what I can get myself to do. Sometimes it's motivation to, get that lawn mowed that I've never been able to get around to do this week or for 3 weeks sometimes. But one of the special projects that I've been working on over the past couple of years is this concept of mental health and how social engineering can interact with that. I get to be in the lives of a lot of people, and mental health is important to them, and it's important to me. And so I decided I would do this special project. I actually talked with Pope last year about the possibility of doing this kind of a talk, which is a little bit different than most of the talks that we give here at SAINTCON. And ever since then, I've been consistently working on this idea of where does social engineering fit with that. So I love to compete, and I especially love to win. How many of you were doing the Hackers Challenge, competing with that? Anybody? Couple? They're probably all over in Zavlag's talk. 45 minutes? Okay, so you're going there next.
When you get a second, do you mind unplugging your adapter and plugging it back in? It's flickering.
Oh, it's flickering? Yeah, we can do that.
Thank you.
And also plug it up with the HDMI cable.
Okay. I hope that works.
That's your screen.
One moment. Technical difficulties.
It's not plugged in.
Well, I know I'd have to.
Is this part of the presentation? Are you social engineering?
Yeah. This is part of the presentation. We're going to see how patient you are. Actually, this is my pity bid for you to be kind to me. I need your compassion, so hopefully that works. We good? Is that better?
No, we don't have another adapter.
I have another adapter. Will you grab that other adapter out of my bag? On the pocket on the other side. Yeah, here we go. Oh, shoot, I probably should have moved that off to the other screen first, huh?
So it'll pop up down there first regardless.
Okay. Try the other side. We'll try a new USB port. This is super exciting. It says no. Okay, going back to the original, we might just have to deal with the flickering.
Push the wire back behind you.
Oh, that's what keeps pulling it off. Okay, and we're back, maybe?
Yep, you're up. Go for it.
Can everyone see? All right, so even though I'm not winning with the slides today, I do love to win. And I use that in my social engineering. I love to, I don't know, win competitions or challenges and try and experiment with new things as I'm doing that. But I came up with this idea of let's talk about the greatness of social engineering. How do you measure that? What kinds of things do you guys think can be used to measure social engineering? How do you know if you're good at it? If someone took an action that you wanted, okay, how do you know that one thing is better than another in social engineering? Like, what's that? Greater deviation, okay, like the impact for an individual, yeah? Success rate. So one of the things that I thought would be interesting to identify, like what is how do you measure this, is by the impact of the number of people affected by the thing that you're doing. We've got, I don't know, a couple people in this room. All of you being affected by social engineering right now, that's pretty good, right? That's better than one, in my opinion. But I thought, like, how do I know that I'm good at this, right? How do I get to be better at this? I've seen some social engineers that do amazing things. And then I think, like, what are the other examples that I've got in the world? How many of you have seen on social media these videos of people who tie water bottles to their ceiling fans, cover their faces so they can't see, stand in the path, and get hit in the side of the head or in the front of the head, right in the face with a water bottle as it keeps going around? How many of you seen that? Okay. How many of you heard about the Tide Pods thing? There's a social media thing saying that you should consume Tide Pods. They're poisonous, so don't do that. And I thought, like, there's also some challenges with social media where we've got some significant influence that gets people to do vandalism or whatever. There are lots of commercials that I've seen lately that are all about how great social media is, the good things that it does by saving people's businesses or helping disabled veterans, things like that. How many of you have seen those commercials? A couple of you, okay. I want to have that level of influence. That's the kind of influence that I want to have. I want to have the kind of influence that really goes out and makes a difference on a large scale. So I wanted to think about like what makes things go viral. What do you think makes things go viral? Any ideas? Novelty. Yeah, we crave novelty. Some of you maybe came to this talk because you didn't know what it was about because I didn't describe it very well. And you thought, well, that sounds interesting, right? I don't know what that is. Other things, yes?
I think when, like, these challenges, when they're participatory, then people get to become part of the virality of it.
Yeah, if you feel like you have a stake in it, for sure. Participation, yes?
Strong emotion invocation?
Strong emotion invocation, yeah. I don't know, we might get into that, but emotion is the trigger for human action. So if you can get emotion involved in it. How many of you have seen that, like that social media storm of outrage, right? Somebody notices something that maybe isn't great, and then suddenly everyone needs to make a comment about it. Yeah, that emotional trigger gets people really engaged very quickly. We're having exciting technical difficulties today. Is that better?
Yes, much better.
Okay, and I just moved it. If I move this over here, how about that? All right, so let's talk about where social engineering fits in with mental health. When going through some mental health situations, I found that I had influence on myself and others. And I also found out that a lot of the mental health issues come back to this emotional trigger component, right? When people are dealing with the challenges of mental health, you often see a departure from rationality. It's very emotionally driven. And so I wanted to talk about like, how does this intersect? How does this fit together from if you're going to do social engineering and you're trying to make things better from a mental health perspective, what do you do? And I tried a bunch of different things. I have had the opportunity to be part of a support group for people who have these challenges in in my personal life and at work and in my community. And I want to be the kind of influencer that can take the skills that I've learned over the period of a decade speaking here at SAINTCON and longer in the rest of my life, and make a difference for people who need it and who need it the most. So everybody has bad days. It happens, things happen. I mean, some of us might think that dropping an ice cream cone is not that big of a deal. If you've ever seen a child drop an ice cream cone like this, it's that big of a deal. And this goes back to the emotional component that we were just talking about, where it's very easy to make some quick judgments as an individual on what someone else's experience should be or how they should react to it. And it's a little bit more challenging to be compassionate sometimes and to realize that someone might be seeing something in a different way than you do, and that their experience, while different and maybe even disconnected from reality, is still their experience. And it's important to recognize that you as a social engineer are not the only impact, not the only influence that's going on in someone's life at that moment, right? When you have a child dropping their ice cream cone and you're saying, just, it'll be okay, we'll get you another one, they still want the one that's on the ground, they just want it to not be on the ground. And that's a significant challenge for the people who are going through those things. And I use the ice cream cone as a metaphorical example. Obviously, the challenges that people face have a wide range of difficulties, complexities, and influences that figure into all of those things. So please just think about that as a metaphor itself rather than just dropping the ice cream cone. And if you see someone around the conference today or maybe throughout your weekend who's having a hard time, maybe you can picture that image of an ice cream cone and think, did their ice cream cone just fall? And how can I actually support them rather than say, it's just an ice cream cone? So I want to talk a little bit about some data that relates to mental health. I'm going to pull up my notes here for just a moment. After the COVID global pandemic, we have some numbers to suggest that mental health conditions are increasing across the entire globe. The World Health Organization saw a 13% rise in mental health conditions over the decade of 2007 to 2017 before COVID. And mental health conditions now cause 1 in 5 years of someone's life to be lived with disability. Around 20% of the world's children and adolescents have a mental health condition. That's 1 in 5. Those are official statistics from the WHO, and they're a little bit chilling, right? They don't make us feel terribly happy, but if you're maybe less about the empathy stuff and more about the numbers, depression and anxiety cost the global economy over $1 trillion every year. So even if you're just a capitalist at heart, this should be a big deal to you. The NAMI Institute, the average delay between symptoms of mental health conditions and seeking treatment is 11 years. And I think, we have an interesting cultural situation where it's hard to get help. Maybe it's difficult to know where to get help, but it's probably more difficult to suffer with something for 11 years. And it turns out that 90% of people who take their own life have comorbidity or similar symptoms in alignment with mental health issues. So that's just a couple of data points. You can, I'm sure, find more. And maybe just as a quick data point, I don't need anybody to raise their hands, but just think inside your head. Do you know someone who's struggling with this right now? I'll bet the answer is yes for every single person in this room. That's how big this is. And that person may be you, that person may be someone in your family or one of your friends, one of your coworkers, and all of those people deserve your help. So, why should you be the one to help? We have all kinds of stories about superheroes. One of my favorites on this screen, and you probably have your own favorite superhero. But the difference here is that those superheroes are just stories. It's true, those superheroes are just stories. Have you ever seen a real-life superhero? Depends on how you define it. Well, often we think about heroes as people who save lives. I'm not going to brag, but I've done it. And it's not about me. It's about doing the right thing. Each of you has the capability to do that. You have the capability to be a superhero. It might be something as simple as, hey, that's a really cool shirt you have on today. It could be as simple as that. It could be more complex. It could be maybe even a lifetime of help and support to someone. And it's difficult to know what that looks like or what that's going to be like Because when you're using your influence to help someone who's struggling with mental health challenges, you don't know what they're going through. As much as you may think that you do, you don't. You just don't know what they're going through. And what they need the most is your support and your best effort to help them. And it turns out that when you do that, it's often just what they need. Why should we do it now? Well, in the post-COVID world, there are a lot of things going on in people's lives, and we are less connected as a community than ever before. One of the great things that I love about SAINTCON is that we are a community. We name our different sections of the conference as communities on purpose, intentionally, so that people have this idea of connection from a nomenclature perspective to an activities perspective, and you can participate in all of the communities that you want, and that's great. I would like for us to also be a strong community for helping and supporting each other, for showing empathy and compassion. And I know we can do it, and I've seen it from so many of you, even just this week. Lots of people helping out in so many different ways. Some of you, not even volunteers, helping someone to solder something or what have you. Your influence can be felt today. You can make a difference today. And you might not know the impact of the difference that you're making, but I promise you it's there. Last year at SAINTCON, I had one of my favorite experiences at SAINTCON ever, where I had people coming up to me and telling me, thank you so much for your efforts for this conference. You were the one, or this was the conference that kicked off my career in cybersecurity, and now I'm doing something great. I had 5 different people come up to me and tell me that last year. And it's not about me. It's about this community. It's about helping each other. When I see that people are making their lives better and helping others to be successful as well, that's what it means to me. That's what it's worth. When we have that capacity, we can do it right now. You might not see the results for years, but the end result is you will see amazing benefits to yourself and others. Now, when we get into how do you deal with mental health issues, we probably should talk for just a little bit about what you should say. One of the techniques that has been studied and reported on in the research over and over and over again is this concept of labeling. How many of you have heard of labeling before? Maybe from your therapist. It's a big deal in the community right now, right? Good for you, like great. When we label emotions or name them, we gain power over them. And I want to talk for just a minute about what that means, because in so many of my social engineering talks, I talk about how the amygdala works and how it's the fastest part of the brain. It's faster than everything else. It will always react first. Emotions are first. But when you engage the rational part of the brain by labeling that emotion, instead of trying to circumvent a beautiful system that is designed and functioning well for emotion, you're not trying to get around that. You're trying to connect that to rational thinking. What I'm feeling is a little bit of nerves up here in front of everyone because we've had some technical difficulties, and that's okay. It's okay for me to be nervous. You guys have been really patient. Thank you very much. I appreciate your kindness to me today for this talk. And I appreciate your compassion for me during this talk. And if you'll see what I'm doing right now, you'll notice that I'm labeling my emotions and yours. But now we take that emotional construct and we turn it into a fully formed emotional and rational construct. Does that make sense? I encourage you, when you're in a situation with someone who needs some help, to avoid saying things like, I know what that feels like, because even though you may have been in a very similar situation, you probably don't know what that feels like. Human experience is different for each person. And I encourage you to ask them questions. This is a great social engineering thing, asking questions. I can ask you questions and make your brain think of things whether you want to or not, right? I'm doing it the whole time here. You're thinking about these things, which is great. If you ask someone, how are you feeling? Their brain starts kicking away at doing that. Will you grab my power supply? We're having a lot of technical difficulties today. Their brain starts thinking about those things, and then you can start to help them, guide them to label their own emotions. Thank you. To label their own emotions in such a way that they gain power over that and can connect their rational thoughts. It's not a good idea to try and compete with their emotional brain and tell them what they should feel or that what they're feeling isn't rational, because the emotional brain does not work like that. Then I want to talk a little bit about what to do, right? Once you've had those conversations, you should likely do something depending on what you learn. If the person that you're talking with has a plan or is a danger to themselves or others, do not leave them. Stay with them. You don't have to know all the answers. There are plenty of places where you can get help. There are numbers that you can call or text and get free help. You can show up at a hospital. You can show up at a police department. You can just sit there with them and make sure they're okay. If they have a plan and they have a mechanism designed to take their own life, I recommend a course of action called means reduction. Have any of you heard of means reduction before? One of you? Okay, we're going to learn a new term today. Means reduction is taking away the means to take away a life. If there's a specific plan that someone has, whatever thing they've mentioned that they're going to use, take that thing away. Get them away from that thing. That one of the really great things about, there we go. One of the really great things about the emotional component of the brain is that given time, it will have the capacity to re-engage reasoning. Sometimes all you need to do is give someone that time and space. Sometimes it's just a conversation, sometimes it's just sitting with them, but you can do something to be with them. If things are serious, please make sure that you engage the right help, the right people. You are not expected to be an expert on everything. I didn't come here to give this talk and deputize all of you in my little plan to make the world a better place, just so that I would expect you to do things that you've never been trained to do. This is a group of cybersecurity professionals, not mental health professionals. But you can be the support structure for someone who needs you. Every single one of you, you have that capacity and that influence. So please make sure that you consider what you can do and be that support. In my conversations, I like to refer to some of the mental health challenges that we experience as humans as the deep, dark basement. And when someone is in that deep, dark basement, they don't need someone at the top of the stairs yelling down to say, it's okay. They don't need someone to say, just be happy. They don't need someone to say, it's not that bad, or at least you have this, that, or the other. They don't need that. They need someone to climb down those stairs and to sit with them and be with them. That's what they need. In the end, that journey up those stairs belongs to that individual. But they don't have to do it alone. That journey may happen many times. And it gets easier when you have help. Now, over the past year, we have lost 2 good friends to mental health issues, and I feel upset and angry at that. I feel like it's not fair, and I want to change it, and I know you can't. Sometimes we wonder when we go through those situations and circumstances, like, what could I have done if I had only known or if I had only seen? And I don't think those discussions are nearly as important or helpful or relevant as, what can I do now? What can I do for the people who are struggling today? What signs can I be noticing? What can I be looking out for? So I invite you to, hands in, help me. Be on the lookout for people around you, for the people in your community. Not just the SAINTCON community, although please do that too. We've lost members of our SAINTCON community to mental health issues. And I know that Mike's been raising some funds for the Utah chapter of NAMI. If you haven't met him, I can introduce you. If you feel free to contribute to that too. I think we reached our goal. I don't know if you're in the room, Mike. Maybe not. It doesn't have to be here in the SAINTCON community, in your families, with your friends, in your religious organizations, wherever you're connected, at work. Be on the lookout for people. You can be a superhero. You have that capacity. You can make a difference. And I'm asking you and pleading with you to join the team of superheroes, the people who do that. You will likely get no thanks for this. You may encounter some significant challenges in interacting with people who are going through very hard times. Please stick with it. Please be the one who will be that support, who will help out. All right, this is my last slide. You've now been deputized. I know this community is an engaged community. I know that you care for and feel concern for the people around you. I know that you have tenacity like few other groups I have ever seen. I've seen people busting through those challenges over the past couple of days and continuing to, break down those protocols and all the different things that you're working on. Take all of your tenacity, your angst, maybe even your hatred and anger, and point it at something worthwhile. Take those emotions and turn them on an enemy worth your time. Find a way to make a difference for someone today. Hunt down those demons that plague all of us. If it's you that's struggling with those things today, find someone who can help you, who can just listen. We have people who care about you, I promise, who maybe just don't know, and it might take a little bit of opening up. That's okay too. I know that each one of you has the capacity to make a difference in this area. I know that you can make a difference for someone in your life. I know you can do it today. I know you can do it tomorrow. I've seen it so many times, and I'm proud of this group for the work that they're doing. Please keep it up. Those are all the slides that I have for today. I'm happy to answer questions if you guys have some. Yes?
I have a lot to say. First, sorry about your losses. I've lost a lot of people in my life to mental health, and it's like losing a part of yourself, and I just wanted to recognize you for that. I definitely want to be your friend and talk to you for hours and hours and hours about this. You're doing social engineering for good, which I feel aligns with my personal mission, so I appreciate that. anyone who's dealt with mental health problems, you know, it's like, of course I do, he's me, right?
Yeah.
And when you said 11 years is the average, that's like, I was in my 30s when I finally sought help for that. And another thing you said, everyone's different, but for me, social proof is what really got me on board with mental health. And you're contributing to that directly by making this normal, by spreading the message of mental health. And yeah, I think that what you're doing is awesome, and I think your talk was amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and actually, I'll share another quick story. It's not part of the slides, but in my effort to try and help with mental health, I've been to some of those meetings, bringing people to support, to therapists, to the hospital, because it's the right thing to do. And I remember just this year having a moment where I'm sitting there in a therapist's office with someone that I care about very deeply, and having the therapist turn to me and say, "And what about you?" And I swear my jaw must have like broken through that floor to the layer below, the level below, because I hadn't even considered, like I was so worried about this person that I had forgotten about myself. And sometimes you have to recognize that it starts with you. So thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate that. Other questions or comments? Yes.
I was gonna bring up the what wouldn't you do?
What wouldn't you do? Oh, that's a great comment. I totally forgot that. So during my research, I had the opportunity to engage with someone who, as a professor at a university, is one of the premier researchers in the United States on suicidal ideation. That is, how do humans get the thought of taking their own lives? And it was a fantastic talk. I wish I could share it with you. And at the end of that talk, I got to ask a question. Super excited for me. I wanted to learn something from someone who knows way more about this than I do. And the question that I wanted to ask was, I'm just little old me, right? I am not a mental health professional. I'm a cybersecurity professional. So what, like special training, what should I do? How do I help? And I cannot forget the words that he said. He said, I would do everything. I would do everything. Because there's no coming back from that. There's not there's not an alternate path of like, let's reboot that server or spin something new up with infrastructure as code. It doesn't work that way. I would leave everything on the table. And I was expecting him to say something like, well, go out and get this training and whatever, like none of those things. He said, I would do everything. And if you have someone in your life that you care about who's struggling with this, I encourage you to do that same everything. Thank you. Other questions, comments? Yes?
I just kind of wanted to actually give a shout out to your son. And it's going along the lines of this is, deputizing and everything. It's as simple as just being aware of what's going on around you, your friends around you. Their son is friends with my daughter on social media, on Discord. And my daughter, who is 13, updated her status on Discord to say, I don't want to be alive anymore. As her mother, I had not seen that. But their son noticed it immediately and went to his mom. His mom rang me immediately, and within 30 minutes, I was able to be with my daughter and see that she had a plan. Everything was in order for her. And so it was as simple as noticing a status update, but she got the help immediately that she needed. And that's not something that, I knew she was struggling, but I never knew how bad she was struggling. And so it's when he's talking about doing these things, it's as simple as just being aware of the people around you. Just because sometimes they do give signs like that. Sometimes they don't, but sometimes they do give signs, and just be willing to take the next step and let somebody know, or for him it was let his parents know, but just be willing to reach out to them. So so his son literally saved my daughter's life. It's it works.
Thank you. Yeah, so some of you as security professionals may have heard phrases like, if you see something, say something, or like, we would rather deal with the security incident than have you try and hide it, even if it's not, like, you're not sure, just make sure you tell us. You guys know these things already. When it comes to human life, if you see something, say something, do something. Don't wait. I remember this incident, and it was like, we're doing something right now. I'm dropping work. We're dropping all the things that we're doing. This is more important, because it might take a couple minutes for that whole thing to go down, but in the end, that couple minutes could matter. It's not something that waits until the end of the day. And it's okay for you to reach out to someone and say, hey, I'm worried about you. Are you okay? And have them say, oh, that was just a joke or something. Like, maybe press them a little bit, because sometimes you might get that reaction normally. But it's okay for you to be concerned about your fellow humans. You have my permission. Other questions or comments? All right. Thanks, everyone, and go be good to others. You're welcome.
Marv had a family emergency. Marv had a family emergency.
Okay. Do I need to help with anything?
No, I'll cover for him.
Okay.
What's that? I mean,
Should be hot. Don't do it until you're.
I'm not done yet. There's a peanut butter cookie over there. Yeah. Did you get a peanut butter? Yeah. I mean, I'll trade you half and half. Isn't the two of them there? So, like. What's that?
I'll trade you for peanut butter. You can have one of my chocolate chips.
Test 1, 2. Test 3, 4. 30 seconds. All right. For those of you that are joining us this fine Friday and had nothing better to do on a Friday where there's only half of a day of a conference, I still don't know why sometimes we do it this way, but we want to keep it going and everybody else wants to keep it going, but then there's the hardcore people that are like, I've had enough, that aren't going to show up on a Friday or whatever. When it's a half-day conference, they can just take the whole day off and say, hey, I was at a conference, right? And all those things. Anyways, before I get started in our closing remarks, I just want to invite you to go get a lunch. Even if you don't have a meal ticket at this point, what happens is we buy meals from the convention center for all of the people that paid for a ticket, but there's so many that don't show up on the last day that had paid for one that there's generally enough. And so if all the people with meal tickets have gotten their food, just go grab a box. There's plenty out there, and you're welcome to come in here and eat it. What's that? It's a picnic. And it is more and more of a picnic. I'll kind of just talk about that a little bit. It used to be that there were only enough people coming to the conference where we could do these tables all the way back, and you'd have this nice horizontal space to lay out your picnic and your laptop and things. But as the crowds continue to grow, the tables, you have to get here a little bit earlier to have that luxury. But anyways, I'm going to let you go grab a box of food for just a minute, and then give me 1 or 2 minutes, and then we'll get started on our closing ceremonies. We also need a bunch of the committee members to actually show up too, so in order for this to work. So be right back.
All right, 1, 2, testing, 3, 9, 7, 4. All right, we're on, sort of, but make it louder so I don't have to put this in my face. There you go. All right, good morning, or afternoon, actually, one more time from SAINTCON this year. Wouldn't mind kicking us over to the slide deck. This is the point of the conference. Oh, got to move the hand higher. We figured that out. Where I have the least amount of anxiety, and this slideshow is going to be whatever it is at this point. So it's basically I took the opening slides, cloned them, deleted some things, added some things, so there might be some elements in here that don't even belong. But I did change it to goodbye from SAINTCON instead of welcome to. Yeah. That's what, this is kind of the social experiment of lack of sleep and what it does to a human being. Anyways, I'm going to go just through a couple of slides. We're not going to take very long because we're going to get to the closing ceremonies part, which is where we're talking about all of our contests, communities, events, and people and things. But I just wanted to mention a few pieces of housekeeping again. This conference is made possible by this great organization that sometimes... Okay, watch out for the TVs. All right. It's like a raptor attack. I had no idea that was happening. It is. It's my lack of sleep. But I don't even know who those people are. I heard that one of them was Zodiac, but Zodiac is not all 5 of them. I mean, could be. Could be. Anyways, the Utah Saint organization is a nonprofit organization that runs this conference. And we've got a wonderful board that meets together very infrequently and a conference planning committee that meets together very frequently. And we somehow pull off this type of event. I did want to mention food, snacks, and sodas in here, only from the standpoint to make sure you went out and got some food if you hadn't got any already. But hopefully you enjoyed the free, on-demand, caffeinated beverages thing. Was that a good thing again? Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, though. I don't think we have statistics, but Danny, man, if you've got stats on that, that'd be kind of cool. I'm just going to do a broad stroke approach here to the conference planning committee. We could spend 20 minutes per person talking about the time, the effort, and the energy that gets put into here. In the opening ceremonies, I kind of mentioned, it takes 6 months worth of planning to pull off an event like this. And it's not just a little bit of 6 months, it's all of 6 months. Nights, weekends, more weekends, weekdays, nights, and everything else. And these folks put in a ton of that time and effort, and I really appreciate what they do, but they've become a family. I mean, we come over to my house and we do barbecue now, and we do all these kinds of things together, and we just talk about SAINTCON. It's kind of weird, but it happens. But I want to just say thank you to them. That's low praise for the amount of time and energy they put in, but they need to be recognized, and so I appreciate them.
Hey, let's also do a special thanks for Troy. I know we have to do this every year. I'm just going to cut to the chase. Troy, I think you led us to put on the best SAINTCON ever this year, so thank you very much for your leadership.
We do think that this is probably one of the best ones we've ever been able to pull off. And it's also because of you. There are 1,700 plus of you out there. We've had more people check in this year and collect their badge and everything than ever before. And so there's basically 1,700 of you that have come through the conference center in the last couple of days in one way or another. And I just want to say, we do this conference for you, for the community. It's a labor of love. It's building community. It's what we're trying. Our mission is to educate and build community in the cyber security realm within the state of Utah and now way beyond as an organization. So anyways, we do it because of you as well. I do still want to mention our sponsors. I know sometimes it seems weird, or not weird, that it's like, hey, well, we got to mention the sponsors. I want to say that we do this type of event because of partners in these spaces. Whether it's Valcom and CompuNet, who are our event partners this year that brought content and brought finances and other things to really make the thing that you're dangling around your neck and that you've had so much fun with probably this year possible. Those financial contributions make those sort of things possible. There's so many other sponsors that we've involved. I don't want to name them all by name, but they're mentioned here on this slide. Every single one of these have contributed in some way, shape, or form to the conference this year, and we really appreciate their involvement. And we're going to continue to involve sponsors because we want to make sure that you also have the ability to reach out and find good solutions to security and IT problems that you're experiencing. And we know that some of these vendors have some great products, or all of them probably have great products, but in different areas of need. And then the last shout out I'll do here, it's a little bit, I don't know if it's self-serving. It's not like we sell things or anything else, but the Utah Education and Telehealth Network is my day job. And they are an amazing organization that allow me to donate some of my time to doing what we do here at the conference. They help us with staffing, and they ran the education cyber security track this year, which was a change from previous years. And we wanted to bring back that feel, that original feel of what this Utah Saint conferences used to be. And I think that they did a really good job up there. So I want to just recognize them and their contributions to the conference as well. And then I'm going to go through and just, it's kind of a thankdemony, right, of sorts, right? I want to thank our keynotes. We flew them out here. They've traveled to be here. And it couldn't have gone off better. So Joe Grand and Nicole Beckwith, if you're in the audience, right here, thank you. Thank you, thank you. And even though I don't have a slide and cool caricatures, but we had Iceman come all the way from Sweden. And El Cantero coming all the way from Japan. So I think this can easily go down in history as the most international participants we've ever had. Maybe not, but I don't know. But we appreciate them bringing their communities. You know, Iceman has a community of 9,000 RFID people in a Discord server that all they talk about is RFID and, hey, where's the latest firmware? Where's the latest firmware? I need that super secret firmware kind of thing. But they bring their communities and they share it with us. And so please go join some of those other communities. I'm going to transition. Again, I don't know what order the slides really came in at this point, but I walk around the conference a lot, sometimes only 10 feet at a time, and it's kind of an ongoing joke because I can't move 10 feet without having to meet somebody and talk with them and tell them I'm out of mini badges. But I do get asked a lot of questions, and the one I get asked the most, and I wanted to just clear it for everybody in the room, is how do I get involved as a volunteer, staff member, or committee member to plan and get involved in this conference? And the answer is, it's a very organic thing, okay? You just get involved. You go meet the people in the contest, the communities, the events, and you lend a hand and you get involved and you ask, hey, how can I help you? I do coding. What can I code for you? Those kinds of things are some of the best ways to get involved at that organic and deep level if you're really wanting to do that. The other official ways of getting involved is we do official calls for contests, communities, events, sponsors, and other things early in the year. Between about the months of March all the way through June, different portions of those get released. And so you're welcome to respond to those and get involved in at a more kind of higher level if that's what you want to do. But here is my other recommendation that I didn't get a chance to tell everybody, is that if this is your first time at SAINTCON, or even your second, or sometimes maybe even your third time attending this conference, it's not time yet for you to necessarily get involved in the planning. we know that that's kind of the next level for you and what you want to do. But my recommendation is be an attendee first and learn our culture and learn our community and learn what it is that we're about, so that when you do join in those ranks, that becomes part of how you participate or contribute to this community. So just wanted to make sure, because there's a lot of first-year people saying, hey, how do I volunteer and things. I'll tell you what, where's Mav? Is Mav in the room? Just yell out if you are. He might be down there in the hardware hacking community still. Yeah, cleaning up or whatever. But I'll tell you what, that guy has been a volunteer forever, but he never gets to see any of the conference because he's a volunteer. Be an attendee first and have a good time, and then come in and contribute. We pulled this slide up yesterday. Provo did call again and said they're really out of AA batteries. I think that they also left a voicemail, something about, we need you guys out of the city because this is not good, or I'm just teasing, but yeah, like not only do we not have AAAs, but we've got some weird things coming from downtown and things. I wanted to just briefly mention trainings one more time. We know that was kind of a last-minute thing. Some of you might not have even heard that we did that. We're going to make that even more official, more well-documented, and understood how to get involved in those. But those were a huge success, a huge hit for a lot of you, and we want to make sure that we scratch that itch for you. Okay, was it the year of the mini badge or not? Yeah. So there were, to my understanding, the ones that I know about that we either helped kit or whatever, almost 40,000 official style mini badges, whether that's contests, communities, events, badge game, all the other things that we put together just from the concept or from the side of SAINTCON and the conference. And then we saw now almost 500 different models of mini badges of personal styles that have been shared throughout the conference. It's blown us away on how cool and interesting the designs, the memes, the mementos, and the meaningfulness that is the artistic expression that you bring on your mini badges. It's been really cool to see those. My pockets have been full, not with mini badges to give away, normally is what it is, but with all of the mini badges people want to make sure that we get and put in our archives and things. And so we're going to be doing that. You'll probably see many of your mini badges in those archives that we had downstairs. Hold on, somebody's calling me. It's not Provo, it's Midvale this time. I think the ooze is moving north. I'm not going to answer that because it doesn't have a name on it, and that's how I roll, by the way. Anyways, mini badges. I just want to mention, mini badge building is very approachable. Many of us, especially those of you that are first-time attendees of SAINTCON, think, oh man, PCB design, electrical engineering, it's super complicated. Like, how am I ever going to learn this? Well, first of all, there's some old YouTube videos that we need to update soon, sometime soon, that help you learn those types of things. But let me just say, it's approachable. And if you want to have the coolest, most easy way to network with other people at a conference like this, bring a mini badge and hand it out. Get to talk to as many different people as you have mini badges for, and then some. But most of the some after you've run out, you're just saying, I don't have any more. I don't have any more. Yeah, and don't just hand them out. Talk. Like, one of the best experiences that I have is that I've now learned that I have one day at the conference where I don't schedule any talks or other things for me to do, that I can just walk around and talk with people and catch up. And it seems like I get to meet fewer and fewer of you each year, too. Anyways, enough about mini badges. Just to say, we thank all those of you that brought your own and contributed to that community as well. But let's talk about the badge. I think that it was a hit this year. And normally we just invite Mike to come up and take a bow and just say, hey, we'll see you next year or whatever. But what I'd like to do is just really quickly invite the entire badge team up here, if they're here. Is Mike even here? Okay, they're over there. Sorry, I should have mentioned in advance that you were going to be like invited on screen, on the stage and stuff. But there's a bunch of them. They're on this slide, but there's more than that are on this slide. I don't know if you take a real bow or not, but you know, hey. But if you attended the badge talk this morning, you got to hear some behind the scenes things about how quickly these guys were able to mobilize and pull off something truly amazing and pulling this badge together in literally a couple of months. I mean, the badge hardware was designed fairly early. We knew what we were going to be doing there, but the software, the code, the development, the story, all of those things came in about 3 weeks, right before the conference. In fact, I think that we were still finalizing things Monday night during the pre-reg event. Those badges were flashed with the first firmware Monday night right before you all showed up to register. Anyways, it was amazing. They deserve a huge round of applause. They will be back next year, right? I'm just getting the verbal nods right now. And also let me just say, for those of you that had a good time with the badge, the game, and the interaction, I'll say, I'm just going to pull a number out of my hat. This is the one I've been quoting all week, but only about 20% of what was actually planned and hoped for had actually had time and all of the capabilities of being implemented. So we've got about an 80% process to get us to next year, and it's going to be even cooler. So there you go. One more round of applause. One more Clippy impersonation. Do you want to... Oh, you can't do it without the headband. Oh, hold on.
Oh, there you go. There we go.
I think I got one left in me.
Hey, listen, you think you won?
All right. And while we've got Chris up here, why don't you pick up that little thing right there? That's for you. He knows what it is. We all know what it is. I'm going to tell you what it is. It's a big old bottle of chimichurri sauce. Now, for those of you that missed out on it, because when I went through the lunch line, it was in these little bowls, and nobody probably knew what it was, but it's some of the best stuff that these guys create in this convention center, and so we take it by the bottle when you guys don't eat it all. So anyways, he likes it the best, and Danny brought it by. Thanks, Danny, for letting that. We'll let you off the stage unless there's other comments you want to make about badge. Like, okay, then let's do that now. Here's the more about the badge slide.
All right, for those who weren't at the talk, just wanted to talk real quick about how much engagement we had this year, because it was ridiculous. So, out of 1,700 badges and people that came, 1,321 people turned on the badge and created a character. Like, that is ridiculous. Last year, out of 1,500 people-ish, about 500 people played the badge game. So, freaking awesome. So, thank you all for playing. We had so much fun watching everyone play it, and we are going to try to do it better next year. Thank you.
All right. Well, we're going to move over and I'm going to briefly talk about some of the events that we had this year. We had more contests, committee, and events than ever. I hope that you had an opportunity to either find some of these, because some of them are kind of mysterious, or attend some of these. One of the ones that we want to make sure that we're recognizing is the family night event. How many of you brought family to the family night event last night? Okay. I'm assuming that you had a good time and that your kids had a great time. We're sorry about hopping them up on sugar at 9 o'clock at night, but it kind of goes without, whatever. But that great event is made possible by many of the spouses and other close associates and things of the SAINTCON planning committee. And so all of they call themselves the widows groups because it used to be that, hey, all of the husbands and folks went to the conference and they got to stay home and didn't get to come to the conference. Now we make sure that they're part of it. We appreciate so much their involvement and being here. And so give them a round of applause. They're all over the place. They plan that event, they execute it, it does amazing things. We think that teaching STEM-related skills and having a lot of fun with those things is the best way to get kids involved in these types of careers and opportunities. But there's several other events that went on. I hope that you took some advantage of some of them. Hack in the Box was off the chain this year. It was kind of the place to hang out in the evenings. We need more space. All right, communities. So many communities, so many well-done communities. Not to shout out one more than any other, but the Keep did it pretty darn well with the decorations and everything else. What an amazing job. And it was packed the whole time. They did the heck out of the theme and such, so very much appreciate them. That is another independent community. That is the DC 801 or the 801 Labs group that pull together and do those kinds of things and then bring their content, expertise, and capabilities to SAINTCON to share with the world. So many other of these groups and folks that contribute. I'm not going to have time to name them all here, but I want to transition over to our contests and contests and challenges and things. You can come on up, Zevlag. And then one of the things that we do at SAINTCON is we love to play around and have challenges and fun things to do. One of our prolific games, it's the center icon on the slide here, is our Hackers Challenge game. And it's one of the only contests that we award something called the Black Badge. And a black badge, and I have a slide for that because that's what it looks like even, if you guys want to make it big and such. You haven't even seen it yet. Yeah.
No.
You want me to zoom it in for you?
I'll be fine. I'll see it after.
Of course. Actually, let me just say, I know that you have like a hard time with sight, right? It's one of those things. And if you went over to his Hackers Challenge talk or any of his talks and you see him leading you through things, you can very quickly see how adept this guy has become at managing his ability to do things on a computer. It's zoom in, zoom out, zoom around, right? It makes all of the rest of us sick, but it's so awesome that you've adapted to that and can produce all of the things you do, even with that. But we have a black badge that we'll be awarding for the Hackers Challenge Prize,
That's
I
correct.
guess.
Yes.
And I'm going to unplug. Well, I got a slide for you and Zodiac to just be up here on stage, but I'll leave it there. You can plug in and do what you're going to do.
Did you have a community slide for Zodiac,
Or are we going to do? Okay.
Yeah, we'll let him go first.
We'll do communities because I kind of brushed over them, thinking, oh, I'm just going to talk about communities. Is that one? It's around there somewhere. There you go. There's communities.
All right. So, we good?
Yeah.
All right. Communities. How many people spent at least one full day's worth of content downstairs in a community? How many people spent at least 2 full days worth of content downstairs in a community?
How many people actually went to talks?
I do communities because I love the communities. I'd rather go and spend time with my hands-on, getting stuff done, learning things. And it wouldn't be possible without the phenomenal talent that puts those things on and puts the effort in to make it happen. If we can do 2 seconds, just give a general applause for the staff. I know Troy did this before, but we can't, in my mind, we can't applaud them enough for the effort they put into things and what they do. So if we can just, And then I just want to take 2 seconds on each of the communities, run through and do a couple of highlights. This Eiffel 65 Blue Team is one that we've been begging for years at SAINTCON. We want Blue Team content. There are more people are in Blue Team careers than Red Team careers, but the Red Team gets all the glamour, and we were so excited to have someone come in and say that they were willing to teach Blue Team tools. And this was their first year, and we gave them a really steep learning curve, and they took that learning curve and ate it pretty well, and they did a good job delivering and did a lot of things for us. But then the ID IoT is another one that was a first year that came in this year. The Internet devices and the Internet of Things, they did a lot of industrial control systems and things. And these are guys that have been doing it at DEF CON for years, and they know their stuff, and they are deep down the rabbit hole, and we are extremely grateful that they brought their talents to share with us. They partner closely with the contest that Josh will be talking about in a minute. AppSec is back for another year this year. Again, the Seths have killed it and rocked it there for us. They did a great job teaching people, and I love that this year they brought in a little bit more of a beginner-friendly, first-time attendee. I don't know anything. I don't know any Python. What can I do? And they did a great job with that challenge we gave them this year of no code barrier to entry to get in there. Hardware hacking is always just nails it. Their mini badges make sure that's never going away. It's going to be here forever. Healthcare hacking, this is brought on by Brucifer. If you haven't met him, he's a great guy. And he has a passion for this like no one I have ever met. And I love to see the passion that goes into this and the love for not just a product, but I personally like it because it makes my data safer and it makes me better when I go into a hospital and go and get health care because he has hooks into the industry to actually make things better. Troy talked about the Keep. The Keep gave me stats, and I don't have my phone up, so I apologize, Bash. I'm not going to quote your stats. But they did do an amazing job, as Troy said. They spun up tons of VMs. They brought their own infrastructure. They built it out. And if you did not get to play that, I highly recommend you go play that. It is a fantastic game that you play that also involves hacking.
I'd like to call it, not only did they play a game, but they walked you through it. They gave you cheat sheets. They taught you how to be a pen tester.
Yeah. Home Labs, again, second year back, totally nailed it, did amazing. I love them every time, and I love this because this is your way to show passion. I've had 20 people ask me how do they get a job. Build a home lab. Show your passion at your house. Space came in. The first year they've done this. Amazing community. People that do this for their day job came and shared their talent, their skills, and their knowledge with everyone here. Phenomenal opportunity to go and learn a little bit about satellites that you may not have ever heard before. Tamper Evident. Did anyone play Tamper Evident? Who broke their first seal without signs of it being broken? Or who broke a seal without signs of it being broken? I'd like to point out that there are some little girls. How old are you? 10. Who thinks they can do the tactical skill of a 10-year-old? Go do it. It's fun. AI did awesome. I'm going to speed up because I'm taking too long. Troy's over here shuffling his feet because I'm slow.
Not shuffling my feet.
No, the AI came in. They did a really good job, and they had some phenomenal discussions. There was a lot of good talk, smart people in the area. Lockpick, Keenan and Odie stepped it up and turned it up to 11 this year. If you didn't go there because in the past it was just locks on a table, you really, really missed out. It was phenomenal before, and it was mind-blowing this year. They turned it up to 12. They didn't turn it up to 11. Like, they nailed it. RFID was great. Iceman's here. He kind of motivated and lit a fire under IceLinks or FOI to get that, to step things up there a little bit. He was a little bit nervous about his pressure to deliver.
Like Iceman's showing up? Oh, man. I better do something cool.
Circuit hacking was a lot of fun. The amount of information contained in Hamster's brain is staggering. He has more information in his pinky than I have in all of me, and the fact that he comes to share that with us is awesome. That education security track upstairs, Corey did that. If you were involved, you know what you did, you know what it does, and you know what it means to you. It does a lot for the education community to have that and to reach out to those people and to reach them specifically. I saved the last two that I want to talk about for the end. Briefs. Who participated, either watched or spoke in the Briefs community? Who loved what they did in the Briefs community? That's pretty close to a 1-for-1. If you didn't do this, this is like lightning talks. Next year, we want to bring it back. We want to do it. This is one of the things that I have always wanted to do because people want to present, but they're afraid. and briefs is that time. You have 10 minutes. There's only a small audience. There's only like 20 chairs in the room, so it can't be a really big audience. It's your time to practice a presentation or learn. And then the last one I saved here, Badge Life. We've talked about badge, but I like to talk about the other side. Shifty nailed it with designing badges, with sharing badges, with facilitating sharing badges, with all the things. And so if you shared a badge, thank Shifty, or a mini badge, thank Shifty. If you got a good one, he probably was involved in the design, whether he designed one of mine, because I had an idea, and 30 seconds later, the design was in my inbox. And that's just how he works. But again, thank you to all the communities. Thank you to everyone for what you did. Everything was orders better than it's ever been, and we loved it. I love the opportunity, and thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hold this for a second. Yeah. Is that up? Okay. So first slide I have here is a. Did it sync up? Do you got it on your screen down there, AV?
He wants to trade, so it's on the confidence.
Okay, great. Just make sure that you can see my slide. Or did it not come? Okay, great. So this will be my last slide as well as my first slide. If you have feedback for the communities and contests, please send it to us.
Please, really, like good, bad, otherwise, we want to hear. Volunteers, staff, content, all of it. We want to hear about it.
So you've heard about a lot of our contests. Some of them overlap with others. But we're going to run through them quick. I'm not going to talk about all of them. We're going to do prizes and awards. So let's go through these. First of all, we had the ICS escape room. I'm not awarding it separately on stage, but they brought it in this year. A really cool escape room. Run groups of 5 to 10 people through at a time. You either passed or you didn't get out. But they walked you through it and they taught you, and you hopefully learned along the way. They realized how important our community was, and they plan to come back and open up and make it a little bit more inclusive for everybody.
We appreciate their willingness to come and to adapt to our unique environment at SAINTCON. They are amazing people.
So if you did ICS escape room, your prize was escaping.
And if you didn't escape, I'm sorry. We'll take down the room later.
Fox Hunt Challenge. This was a new one here at SAINTCON this year. And we had some awesome staff that really knocked it out of the park. Hopefully you had a lot of fun. I was honestly surprised and blown away at how many of you played the Fox Hunt Challenge.
And we had an awesome Zevlag who nailed it out of the park with the award.
So this year the award was self-awarded. Won't be on stage, but they were this fox is what was found after you completed the various other 6 foxes that need to be hunted each day. And so 10 of these went home to people that completed and found all 6 foxes every day. So they got their prizes, and they're beautiful. Another new admission to the contest this year was the Cat 5 cable making contest. I hear some groans out there. Hopefully you had some fun. There were a lot of people that played. We are going to prize a first place winner on there. For a long time, Jupiter was at the top of that list, and then we had Alex, and then we had some back and forths. It was competed all the way down to right at 10 o'clock this morning on the times, and our first place was John. So give us some applause. And here's the scoreboard.
The coolest thing about, sorry if I can jump in,
Yeah.
coolest thing about this is, this was not a contest until DEF CON happened. Somebody saw it and said, that's awesome. And they made it happen between DEF CON and SAINTCON from concept to delivery in just a few weeks. And so.
Made with love by Vortex.
Yeah.
Thank you,
awesome.
Vortex.
Mad props to Vortex for seeing something cool and making it happen.
So what you're seeing here on the right-hand side, these are times. Cat 5 cable made and tested in 1 minute and 12 seconds. Both ends. No tool touched the cable until the time started. So it's amazing. So I'm going to say here, if your name is mentioned up here as a prize or a contest winner, please come up here after the closing ceremonies. We have prizes for you. Next contest, we had the Vault Challenge. They brought back a bunch of safes, upped the game with more for you to participate in and to learn, even when you're not competing. Woo!
We love you too, JC.
So I'm going to call out that we had a lot of competition, and second place came in at a tie, same number of points. And so we had DC 702 and Kevin and Haxanies. Hackstanies. So congratulations.
Again, if your name's called out, we do have prizes. Come up and they'll be up at the front. We'll award those at the end, so make sure you come up here.
And for first place in the vault challenge this year, we have Bear Jump. Woo! Bear Jump's competed for many years. It's good to see his name at the first place, and congratulations. Next challenge, we have the scavenger hunt challenge.
Yeah, hold on. Go back. There's one other important mention here that we want to say is that the vault, the entire, hey, nice. I can see you all now. The vault has been brought to us by for many years by some of the best contributors to our community. It's the Snow Offensive group. I want to make sure that they are recognized by their name and what they do. Snow Offensive, it's JC, Snow. They do an amazing job. I think that
Kyle.
It's and Kyle. Yeah, sorry. I think that this was the last year of the Snow Offensive version of the vault. So if the vault comes back next year, it's going to be different, or maybe the same but different. But as they kind of are fading out of doing the vault, we're hoping that they're going to do other things, and we'll talk to them about that. But we want to just give a special round of appreciation and love for your contributions to this long-running contest at SAINTCON, and we thank you.
I would take my hat off to you, but I was mugged in the hallway by a dinosaur, and he took my hat. Sorry, JC.
Okay, scavenger hunt. Another great contest we had this year, brought to us by Marv and his crew. And so I'm just going to announce their winners. We had a coolest turn-in, was by our friend Red Raven. What made this so cool was that it cut several inches off of her own head to turn in.
Hair, not head. Let's just clarify that.
Several inches off her hair, off her own head. Yes, yes. So there's a prize for Red Raven, so please come up afterwards. Second place in the scavenger hunt contest, third place in the scavenger hunt contest, we have Clinton J. Walker, and second place we have D3D. And our first place winner for scavenger hunt is Team Ramrod.
If you didn't look at the randomness of that list on the scavenger hunt, you should, because these guys found some random, weird stuff. Thanks, Marv.
There's your scoreboard for a moment. You got a lot tapering off, but our leaders definitely pulled ahead by a long ways. AppSec Challenge. We heard about them as a community. They stepped up the challenge this year and ran them two very separate and distinct and supporting each other, but they stepped up with the challenge and really delivered for people to play competitively. So we had a couple honorable mentions of individuals that visited the AppSec community and then played the challenge very diligently, and their efforts wanted to be noticed by the AppSec community and the challenge team. And so honorable mentions, we have White Capper and Taco Cat. As honorable mentions, there is a small prize, so please come up afterwards. Third place, we have Grimmer, and second place, we have Lego Clone. And first place in the AppSec Challenge, Dr. Dinosaur. There's your scoreboard for the AppSec Challenge.
Wait a minute, Seth Law took fourth place.
Imposters. Okay, Tamper Evident. It got mentioned as a community. They had a lot of fun, but they did run two challenges, a beginner challenge and an advanced challenge. And so we're going to highlight our first place. This is the first place, yes. First place in the beginner challenge, second place in the beginner challenge, we have Braden Corbridge. And first place in the beginner challenge, Mike Schaefer. So these were graded and scored based off of how untampered the results looked when they turned them in.
How evident it was that you had been in or moved. Like the beginner challenge was to move some tamper evidence stickers from one side of a piece of paper to the other. And so these people removed those void if removed that leave the word void. They removed those, moved them to the other side of the sheet of paper, and you couldn't tell.
And on to the advanced challenge for tamper evident, we have Tooele City. And they
Is that the whole city? Or
If you've lived in Tooele at any point in time in your life, you win.
It was a team of 2.
That's
Oh, wait,
awesome.
maybe not. I guess just the team.
And so finally, the Black Badge Challenge this year is the Hackers Challenge, as most years. And it was a fun game this year. If you hopefully you caught the Hackers Challenge shakedown last hour. We won't be going reviewing it all. At this point, we're just going to name some names for our prize winners. Oh, yeah, you're right. I called them out. I'll call them out again because next year will be 10 years of me running the Hackers Challenge, and I've loved it.
Stop and pause. I will say that in those 10 years, the Hackers Challenge has leveled up every single year. How many of you can take your job and reinvent it completely every year for 10 years? It's no small feat that he says he's done it for 10 years. I talk about how the community's leveled up. The Hackers Challenge game levels up all the time. Josh is amazing in how he can reinvent this, but he also has great help that helps him, so I'm going to let him talk about them.
A couple years ago, I said I was done. You heard me up on the stage say, hey, next year I'm not going to be here. Someone else needs to fill in. Well, Rigel and Santiago stepped up and said, hey, you can't quit. I made a coin. I published a coin with the Hacker Challenge and a date on it that said I was done. They said I can't quit. And they stepped
Collector's item.
They stepped in and really made this possible for me. They, as staff members, they help run the game, they help build the puzzles, and I'm sure you interacted with them this week to play the Hacker Challenge. And I couldn't have done this without their help, and I really, really appreciate it. So, on to those of you that played and won and earned some prizes and the bragging rights. Our first mention is the Hacker Jeopardy trivia game. It's a sub-game that takes place in Hacker Challenge. We launch it midweek, and it's a whole category of like 30 puzzles. Well, there's probably close to 35 trivia questions. They're played like Jeopardy. It's amazing how much of this crowd does not know how to play Jeopardy. You answer in the form of a question, so starts with a W probably, and ends in a question mark. A hint for next year when you play Hackers Challenge. So, Nope Sled was our first person to complete the entire category. Blacked it out. All 35 puzzles in it. So, Nope Sled, congratulations. Oh, and if you ever want to open or bypass a lock that is locked, you're not going to use lockpicks. The answer in SAINTCON, if you're going to bypass a door, open a door that's been locked, is to use film strip. It's not an under the door tool. It's an over the door tool.
Thanks, Pope.
That was the #1 Hackers Challenge. That question had like 400 wrong answers on it. Okay, to announce our winners, we had a 3rd place winner that was showing up on the board as blank. So, blank, you may win the 3rd
If
place.
you can fill in the blank, you can win the prize.
Second place is Nope Sled. I'm going to fill in the blank to you. It was a Unicode character, left to right marker. I loved it. Nice play. This was a good friend of ours that many of us may know from hosting the password cracking village for us in previous years, our friend Q. So good job, Q, on 3rd place. And first place in the Hackers Challenge this year and winner of the Black Badge is Lego Clones. Will you hand me that trophy right there? There's the trophy. No. I just want to show off the Hackers Challenge trophy and Black Badge for 2023. Congratulations, Lego Clones.
I'd also like to point out that this black badge, not only is it black and cool, but it is autographed by the badge team, which will one day be worth more than the badge itself, just in case you're curious.
And that's all I have. Troy, the stage is yours.
Thank you.
Once again, please fill out the feedback, scan the QR code.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for all of your efforts of wrangling all of the contests, communities, events, and things that you've done this year. Nope. All right, we're on the home stretch here. Somebody's calling me again. It's Brigham City this time. It's amazing. Like, it'll tell you that it's a local call, but it'll always be a vendor from out of state. It is. It's, you can't believe a phone call anymore. Yeah. At least I get the words potential spam across some of the numbers as they come through. That's it. That is an improvement over the way it was before. And hey, if you ever want to get a hold of me and you're going to call me on the phone, if you're not in my contacts, the best way to do it is send me a text before you call me. Then you'll have a chance of me answering the phone call, because I don't answer phone numbers. And I hope that you do something similar, because otherwise it gets crazy. Okay, sorry for that diversion. Last couple of things. I wanted to throw this back up just in case we needed to DDoS the Discord server again. Those of you that were here Wednesday morning heard that, yeah, they sent us an alert saying, hey, there's some raid or something going on your server. There's way too many people joining. This is weird. But we told them everything was okay, and so the CAPTCHAs and everything, I think, went away. But if you're not joined onto our Discord server, we encourage you to do so. There is a lot of community. There's a lot of fun banter. There's a lot of people that understand IT and security-related problems and issues and have a lot of empathy for what you might be going through that you can vent to or you can ask questions to and get probably some decent responses. It's a community of communities at this point. People from the 801 Labs community, the DC 435, the DC Squared communities, they all hang out here too, but they have their own communities as well. And so if there is something more local to you, wherever you are in your regions of where you live, whether that's in-state or now out-of-state or even in Sweden, make sure you find local community that you can engage with and hang out with. The DC Squared community, we'll give them kind of the just honorable mention award for the coolest recent upstart, and the growth of that community has been really super cool. So if you're in the northern-ish Utah area and you need a community to hang out with, DC Squared is really cool and such. But I digress. Join a community, and find good people. And I think that the last slide on here that I've got, I mean, there's more we could go through, but we'll see what they are, is a thank you. Danny, are you in the room? Come on up, buddy. The first time you're going to see the stage at a SAINTCON, but it's time. And if you guys are okay with it, I'm going to ask him a couple of questions, so hand him a mic. I hope you're okay with me asking you a couple of questions.
I don't really have a choice, right?
Not really. Okay, I'm going to just take you back. I want one quick story of when we came and said that we wanted to do a HackerCon at the Utah Valley Convention Center. What were you thinking?
Oh, crap.
Okay, well, I just want to recognize not just Danny, who is the general manager of the Utah Valley Convention Center, and it's my understanding, at least the rumor is, that we're the only event that you actually decide that I want to manage this event. And he delegates all the other cool events that happen here to all of his other people, but he likes to manage this event. Is that right?
That is correct. I have 4 event managers. My background started in events doing this, and I love your guys' community so much that my event managers know SAINTCON is mine.
But we wanted to just make sure. We just wanted to make sure that you had an opportunity to be up here and hear from all of us, and especially me, our deep gratitude for the partnership and the time, the energy, and all the other things that we know that you guys put in to clean up after all of us, especially after today and things. But I also want to just say the partnership for making things affordable for us, like all of the sodas and other things that we have here has made our event super successful, and that's what we want to say thank you. So there you go.
Well, thank you.
And while he's walking away, I will add one more pitch, and it's not a paid promotion, but if you have a conference or an event or something that you would like to plan and think that this venue might work out for it, they are so cool to work with that they'll just make it easy for you. So I encourage you to do that. And so last slide I've got on here is welcome to SAINTCON. Let's get this party started again. I thank you for being here, for being part of our community, and for all of the contributions, for all of the things. And we'll be back next year. We'll be here. And we hope that you'll come back. So there you go. That's the end. All right. That's it. Thank you. All right. And if there's box lunches left, grab one on the way out. If your name was on a slide, please come up and grab a prize. The other question as you're going that we always get asked is, what can we do to help? What can we do to help? The answer is leave. The less that you talk to us and want to talk to us and things, the more we can get things done. We appreciate it, but we've got a pretty good system. So best thing you can do is grab some stuff, leave, we'll chat on Discord. Oh, actually, if you really want something to do, you can pull up a power strip off the floor and set it on the table to make it easier for us. That's about it. Do not pull it by the cords, things, whatever, you know. That's it. Do not pull up the power cords, just the strips. And if you